Yo, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? This is Caps from the Comic Book Podcast and the Movie Podcast. I come in here with a little special video for you today. See me, myself, Toe Tags, and some of the boys. We're out at AEW Dynamite right now, and we didn't want to leave you hanging with something, so I got a little bit of a movie review for you right now. Let's hit that intro. All right, all right. So tonight we're actually gonna be talking about this movie right here, Malignant, Bananas movie. This thing is crazy. So I'm gonna be doing a regular review for anybody who's interested, and then after that we're gonna get heavy into spoilers. We're gonna talk this movie through because this movie is something that deserves to be talked to. Where do we start here? So Malignant is a movie directed by James Wan. He's the guy who did Saw. He did Insidious. He did the Conjuring movies, or at least some of them, right? Not all of them, but he did the first couple of ones. And this movie is basically a story about a lady who you see on the poster right there, who's it's kind of a mystery. She's either being haunted or being stalked by some sort of entity. If you've seen the coming attractions, it kind of makes it look like there's a haunting going on. She gets visions of people getting killed, and the movie progresses, has some crazy ass shit in it, but it's essentially cops are trying to stop whatever this is from happening, from killing people. She's trying to help out and little things like that. We'll get more into when we hit the spoiler part. What I liked about this movie is, and this is just me, I liked everything about this movie. The bad acting, the weird storytelling, the what the fuck moments. A great thing about this movie is it has a great way of building tension, but it doesn't use any jump scares. Every time you think there's one coming, it doesn't do it, and it leaves you like, wait, what? What the hell's going on? Is it coming now? Is it coming now? And it lets you freak yourself out, which is a good thing. What else do I like about this movie? This movie has a crazy. I like the ending. What happens at the end, which we'll get into in the spoilers again. What happens at the end, I personally like. It's reminiscent of another movie that James Wan has done. I like there's a crazy action set piece in the third act of this movie that was really well done. Now, of course, if I'm being subjective, the bad parts of this movie are some of the acting. And this movie, you really need to be on board with this movie 100%. If you're not on board with this movie, it's probably not going to be for you. And you're going to know if you're on board pretty far, or not pretty far, pretty close to the beginning. Because that's where the worst acting is, in that first opening scene. If you're not on board, then probably not going to be for you. But the direction was great. The pacing was good. This is a 2-hour movie, and I wasn't bored at any point in time. The pacing was good. Some of the shots that they have, is if you see in the trailer, this isn't a spoiler, but there's like an overhead shot where it looks like she's running through the house, and you get to see the entire space from over top. That was a pretty cool shot. All the transitions from when she's sitting in a room and then it transitions to another room. All those shots were pretty good. That crazy action set piece in the third act, really well done, really well stylized. I mean, I think you would enjoy that. Let's see. I'm trying to be vague as hell because, again, a lot of this is something you have to talk about spoiler wise. You can't talk about this movie without the spoilers in it. I defy anybody to try. So, with that said, I recommend this movie. If you have 2 hours to kill on a Saturday night or a Sunday night, you want something to do, go right ahead. Pop this one on. It's on HBO Max right now. If you could safely go to a theater and you feel comfortable going to a theater, you could do that as well. It's in theaters. I personally recommend HBO Max because, again, this might be something where you get something different out of it, where you walk away going, I don't know what the hell I just saw. I didn't like it. I walked away going, I don't know what the hell I just saw. This was awesome. So my recommendation is to go see it. I'll give you an actual grade for this movie when we're done with the spoiler talk. Speaking of which, it is now spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen it, pause the video here, go watch it, come back, put in the comments or put in some other time. Let's get the conversation going with you and your friends for this crazy ass movie. So we're going to start where all movies start at the beginning, that opening scene. We started like some mental institution, like some not Arkham Asylum shit, but it looks like it's in a castle on the side of a hill. Like it's very much like blinking at you and, in your face that this is a crazy house for weird shit. Whoever wrote this part must have been a fan of Jurassic Park, because things break out. The main bad guy, his name is Gabriel. He is trying to escape, and they trying to catch him, trying to subdue him with a tranquilizer. So they bring out the big ass tranquilizer gun. They walk in, and this is the moment with like the raptors in the first Jurassic Park. The shooter. They try. The security guard fails. He gets his arm cut off or broke or some shit. Then the lady doctor, this lady, she went overboard in the acting part here, but takes the thing, shoots the tranquilizer dart. They get him. They dragging him out. And now it's weird because they hone in on pink panda socks. And it's weird because you keep hearing him say Gabriel. And you keep hearing him refer to him as him. I mean, there's nothing wrong with pink panda socks. Assume this is you can tell it's like some sort of child. But that'll come back later on. Why they zoom in on that. So they trank him. They're trying to Jaws this thing where they're not showing you what they're looking at and what they're reacting to. And they literally have it behind the screen. And she looks at this whatever this is, Gabriel. So time to cut the cancer out. And then they show you some mutated, disfigured thing for a brief second. Like maybe 3 to 4 seconds on screen, which is definitely a pausable moment. But I would not even pause it because it would have ruined the surprise. And then they go into the opening credits where you see them cut like skin and flesh and take out muscle and other weird shit. And then certain things flash up on screen. It just says in utero, something happened, ability to control electricity, some weird shit, which you could stop to read. I didn't stop to read because I didn't think it was going to have a bearing in the movie until it did. But, you can stop and see what it does. So now we flash forward a couple of years and we hone in on the lady you see in the poster right there. She comes home from, I guess, a double shift or something at some sort of hospital. She appears to be a nurse. She's pregnant. This lady gets the shit end of the stick in life. She comes home. You find out that she is pregnant for the third time. She's lost 2 of her pregnancies beforehand. Her and her boyfriend, her husband, they never really clarify which one he is. They get into a little argument. He's like, "What? You blaming me because you keep losing my children?" He's mad at her. Then this motherfucker gets in her face, a pregnant lady who had lost 2 other babies beforehand, and grabs her face and pushes it into the back wall, which cracks the wall. And for the rest of the movie, and we'll find out why later, but for the rest of the movie, she's essentially just continuously bleeding out of the back of her head. So that night, the guy is downstairs watching TV or something. Here's a noise. As all white people do in horror movies, they go investigate. There's some weird shit going on. He's not seeing any, like you think you see somebody, but then he turns on the light and they're gone. Then they're up on the ceiling. Then he looks and they're gone. And he's walking around the kitchen And you're like, all right, so this is some supernatural shit. TV turns on, he goes into the TV. All right, he goes to see what's there. There's somebody watching the TV. Again, turn the light on, gone. Nobody's there. And then they come to the front of the couch and you can see the cushion. It looks like something is sitting there. You can see the indents. Right out of that, it's something, whatever's there starts rising because the indent makes the cushion go back to normal. He's investigating further, turns off the TV. Boom. No jump scare, but behind him is the killer. He gets stabbed in the head. The lady wakes up, runs downstairs, just in time to see this dude going to town hammering on him. He knocks her out, leaves the house. Police come. She's unconscious. This entity had just entered her home, killed her boyfriend or husband, and just shook her whole world. Get to the hospital. We meet her sister for the first time. She's going to be very important. We meet her sister. Find out, again, she lost the baby. Which, like I said, she gets the shit end of the stick. Cops are interviewing her. One cop is like, yo, somebody broke into this house. Somebody did something. That's the young dude, the young cop. The older cop, who's a lady, is like, nah, it's probably this lady. She lost 3 children. She's been beaten by this dude, apparently. She probably just had enough and killed this man. You know, the classic, one cop thinks that there's more to it. The other cop's like, nah, this is Occam's razor. The simplest answer is probably the answer. So she decides, the nurse lady, the main character, and now, normally, you would know who the characters are, what the names are, and all that. This is a movie in which it does not matter. Like, the things that happen you're not going to sit there and go, oh, I can't believe what Karen or Jesse or whatever her name did. No, the shit that happens in this movie supplants the need for names. Letting you know now. So, nurse lady is like, fuck it, I'm going to stay in my house. They're not going to scare me off. She stays. The sister leaves. She goes back to doing whatever she's doing. The passage of time is a little bit weird in here. It might have been the first night. It might have been a few days later. Either way, lights start flickering. Shit's happening with the radio in her house. She looks outside the window. And there's someone standing there. Then they kind of show it, but then he's gone. Then you don't know where he is. And again, it's like a little demonic. Is she seeing things? Is he really there? Who knows? She goes up, boards up the house, locks all the doors, except one door is open, the back door. She closes it, and that's when, you know, in all horror movies, oh, I hope nobody's in the house. Closes it. She goes to sleep. She starts hearing something. Oh, no, she goes down to do laundry. She starts doing laundry. And in the laundry, you know, they cut away, and they go to this other lady's house. And if you're paying attention, this is the doctor lady from the opening of the movie. We're now in her house. And this entity breaks in, grabs an award that she won, which it's a sharp medical point, starts chasing her, like really chasing her, while the nurse lady's looking, you know, doing her laundry, looking through the little glass window. She sees a reflection of this lady. Then the lady pops out at her and is like begging for help. She gets startled and moves back. The room around her changes. Nurse lady is now inside the doctor's house. And she is watching whatever this thing is murder her in her kitchen. The next day, she thinks it's like some sort of weird nightmare or something. The next day, she sees on the TV that the doctor lady was murdered. The cops are investigating. She goes to the cops. Like, hey, I saw it. I saw this happening, and I think I know who's doing it. She doesn't quite remember anything. So her sister picks her up. That's where we learned that she doesn't remember anything from before she was adopted. So now we know she was adopted into this family right now, and it's not her biological sister, but her adopted sister. And she's saying that she doesn't remember anything from before the hospital. So they go to the cops. She's like, I think it's Gabriel. And he's the devil. It's something from my childhood, but I don't remember. And the cops are like, yeah, okay. It's a spooky man doing some shit. Cool. Get out of here. Flash forward, this random lady is giving a tour of the underground of Seattle, where the film takes place. And she's telling everybody that Seattle used to be at this level. And there was a massive fire, and instead of rebuilding, they literally just built another city on top of the original city. So the tour she's giving is supposedly the original city of Seattle that's just now underneath all these shops and stupid shit. So she gives a tour. At the end of the thing, she's packing up. You hear, you hear the sounds. You're like, oh, this dude's coming back again, whatever the fuck this is. Grabs her up. And at this point, weirdness number one happens. Because this time, it's been acting demonic. It's here, then it's there, then it's disappeared, then it's not, then it got up off the couch, but you didn't see it. Like the actor in the scene didn't react to it, like he saw something get out of the seat. But he takes this lady and he goes to an attic. He's in an attic somewhere. But then this motherfucker's real. It's a real person who has a jacket. He wears a leather trench coat, has gloves, tied her up, and is sitting there talking to her like she's trying to escape. He's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. It's just normal conversation. He takes the weapon. He sharpens it. The weapon he took from the doctor that he killed her with. He's sharpening it. He's making an actual, real, tangible thing. And that's weirdness number one. Because I was like, yo, what the fuck's going on? I thought it was a demon. Or I thought it was some sort of, disappearing entity. Turns out it's possibly a real person. Cool. The next kill. So he keeps that lady tied up, and we'll find out why in a second, or later on, I should say. But he keeps that lady tied up. The next kill, guy's sitting there, lights are flashing, weird shit's happening again. He's looking through the window, and the whole time you're like, yo, there's the jump scare. He's gonna be over his shoulder, or he's gonna be in the back, or some shit's gonna do it. Never happened. He goes to the bed. He sits down. We're looking now from under the bed at the back of his legs, his Achilles. You're like, some shit's gonna fucking slash him. Here's the jump scare. Never happened. Great build of tension, because you get invested now. You're like, when is it coming? When is it coming? And then it doesn't come, and you're like, okay, so now what's happening? You didn't do the jump scare thing, so what are we doing? She winds up, the nurse lady again winds up in her bed, but now when she turns, she's face to face with this second guy. And we now know that the second guy is the other doctor from the opening scene. He was one of the other people in the room. And this thing, whatever this is, crawls, like comes up. The shot is in the trailer. Comes up over her shoulder and just crawls over her. And you get a brief glimpse of the face, if you even want to call it that, of whatever this is, as his hair is just dangling in front of it. She's paralyzed. She can't move. She can't do anything. She's just stuck watching as, again, this thing takes that little weapon he made and just starts hammering into the face of this doctor, killing him. Brutal shit. Again, she goes to the police and is like, yo, there's a second dude died. This motherfucker's happened. He's killing these people. And she tries to tell him a little bit more. While in the precinct, we found out that the cops were investigating the first murder with the doctor. They found a picture and they told somebody, hey, age this picture up. Because it's a young girl. We want to know what this is, why this is in the file that this doctor had about Gabriel. And now, I'm not going into complete details. A little bit of other shit happened. I'm just trying to stick to the pertinent information, because there are little small details that don't explain, but they further the story along. Watch the movie. You'll see what it is. But so he says, age the photo up. They're talking to this lady about this Gabriel guy. She leaves to go to the bathroom. Gabriel calls her on her cell phone. There's a full-blown conversation where she's playing like she don't remember. He calls her a different name. Not the name of a character, but I guess a name from earlier, signifying that they knew each other from before her memories start, essentially. And she's like, "Oh, I know, she plays that shit and like, I know who you are. Stop doing whatever the fuck you're doing," type shit. They get back, they get back to the cops, they end their conversation, they leave. The guy who was the sketch artist who aged up the photo, the young cop is like, "Yo, did you ever get that photo?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm surprised you didn't talk. Yeah. Like, I'm surprised you didn't question her. She just left. And it turns out the young girl in the photo is the nurse lady. So before we get to the third kill, we go to the ladies go to, the nurse lady goes to her adoptive mom's house. And we found out that she was in the same asylum as Gabriel. And they adopted her out of there once she was cured. And she was adopted into this family before her sister was born. And now the police are finding little information about this. They have these thumbnail drives that the doctor left over, and they start watching a few of these videos. And it's just, the typical, "So, does Gabriel talk to you?" "Yes." "What does he say?" "Tells me to do bad things." Blah, blah, blah. The typical shit that happens with every possession or movie. But again, this motherfucker is real. They showed that he actually exists. But somehow she's, at this point, is still getting possessed, or they're still trying to play that trail. So it's a little bit of a guessing game as to which story is real. About an hour into this, before I continue, I went into twtich's room right here, into this place, and I told him, "I think I know what's going on." And I explained to him what I thought was going on because I needed somebody else to hear it. Because if I was right, I wanted proof on the record that I was right. So they find out she's part of the in this thing, in this mental institution, and she was adopted. And the third, what do you call it? So the young cop, and I'm a little all over the place because I saw this like last week, and I'm trying to go off of memory and of what happened, like what the real pertinent information is. So the young cop who's watching all these videos and looking up the files and all that, he's, "Oh, there's 3 doctors. 2 of them are dead. One of them is still alive." So, in typical cop fashion in movies, he goes without backup to the third doctor's house, runs up the stairs just in time to see that once again Gabriel has killed him. The nurse lady is in the room because she's being shown this, as always. She's trying to yell at the cop, "Yo, he's still here," but she can't. She's being shown this, but she's not there, and we'll get into that later on. But the young cop turns around. There's Gabriel. Now, to cement that this shit is real, this person is real, they get into an actual fucking fight. And then they get into a chase scene. And this chase scene is weird because if you notice, if you watch this beforehand, this is about to get spoiled right now, but if you watch this beforehand, if you're like me, you notice that this thing looks to be moving backwards as it's going forward. So as it's moving forward, it looks like the body is moving backwards. And that is the moment where I was like, "Yo, so I think I know what the fuck's going on. I really do think I know what's going on. And if I'm right, this is fucking bananas. I don't know who came up with this." So there's an elaborate chase scene. This motherfucker parkours his way through some shit. The cop is chasing him. He gets away. And now they're like, okay, we need to get some sort of fucking. There was a little gag in the beginning saying that the cops use psychics because the sister was an actor and she tried to, like, she auditioned for a role of a psychic on a cop show. That's one of those little things that it happened, but it's not really relevant to anything. But they try to get a hypnotist to bring back the nurse's memories from the night. They do so, and she connects, and then she freaks out because of all the shit that happened. And she freaks out because Gabriel had a big fight around her birthday. And Gabriel called her on the phone and said, hey, give your mom a surprise. She likes cake. Cut a slice of cake. So she's in the kitchen. She's going to cut some cake. But then the camera shifts and you see what really is happening is she's standing with a knife over her mom who's pregnant with her sister. And Gabriel's trying to get her to kill her sister before she's born. That freaks her out. The cops are like, all right, we got to stop this shit. So they pull her out of the trance. Then something interesting happened. The fucking... the lady who was doing the underground tour, who was taken in the beginning, falls. She's trying to escape from the attic. She does. She hits the ground, tries to run, falls through the floor of the attic. Turns out to be the ceiling of the house this nurse is in. So when that back door was left open before, somehow Gabriel got in, went up to the attic without anybody knowing, hit a fucking full-size woman who was making noise and trying to get the fuck out without anybody knowing. And it has now been revealed that this lady has been up in her attic this whole time. So the cops are like, yo, we gotta fucking investigate, close down this house, do our shit. They now arrest this woman who, she is now being arrested because they found the cloak, they found the knife, the weapon being used, and they found other shit up in the attic from Gabriel. And they're like, no, fuck this. It's got to be her. She's the one doing this. She probably had a psychosomatic thing and snapped and blah, blah, blah. While they're doing that, the sister goes to Arkham Asylum, as I'm calling it, the fucking mental place. Goes into it's abandoned by now. So she apparently abandoned buildings, like in all horror movies, you just walk the fuck in. She goes down to the basement where for some reason they've kept all the tapes and all the evidence you fucking need. Like, convenient shit for movies. And she pops in a VHS. And now this is where I'm telling you I was right, but I didn't know how fucking right I was. So, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go get Toe. And if he can remember what I told him my prediction was, I'm going to let him say it before I say it on air. 1 second.
I know exactly what he was saying, but I know that he said that there was something behind this woman that was puppeting this. Like it was almost like two fronts of people, I think. And I ain't watched the movie. But from what he said, that shit sounded stupid. It was like the girl's moving backwards while the thing that's possessed her from behind is moving forward. So it looks like she's moving forward, backwards, and she's backwards while moving forwards or something. So it's like the demon's possessing her, coming from behind her or something like that. I don't know. And those are the facts. Those are the facts. We can't dispute the facts. All right, peace.
Yeah. As confusing as that was for him to say, that's about as confusing as this movie is, because so that's what my prediction was, that based on that chase scene and what I noticed, that whatever this entity is piloting her body as a puppet, but backwards. He's the back part of her, and she's running backwards. But for him, it's forward. It's crazy. I know. I sound like an idiot, but that was my prediction. And boy, the fuck was I right. Because now the sister finds out that the shit in the beginning that I said if you could pause to go through the in utero and the electric control shit. So their mother was from a very religious family. And something happened to her. They don't explain what. She became pregnant. She was supposed to give birth to twins, but something happened to where where they didn't become Siamese twins. What they said is they were parasitic twins. So when the nurse lady was born, her brother was born on her back. Yeah. So they put Gabriel to, they're doing an interview. They put Gabriel to sleep and they're just talking to her. And they were like, well, for now we got to talk to Gabriel. So we're going to wake him up. And they literally go to the other side of her. And out of her skull is a face that's mutated, 2 little arms, and a fucking rib cage, which is Gabriel. They said that they were going to cut the cancer out. What we saw in the beginning in the opening credits, they removed as much of Gabriel's body as they could. But they couldn't remove any part of the face because they're sharing the same brain. And if we remove too much from that on accident, then this girl is a vegetable. She's no longer viable as a human. So what they did was they took this motherfucker's face and shoved it in the back of her skull and fused the shit shut. I fucking shit you not. And then when she's, when she started growing up, she had the sister. Gabriel went dormant because she didn't need to access that part. Like they essentially just ground him out. And she didn't need to access that part. So he's been dormant this entire time. And when the piece of shit, her boyfriend or her husband, pushed her into the wall, it woke Gabriel up. Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, this movie is fucking crazy, but it's enjoyable. So we get now to, she's in the police station because they've arrested her, and they throw her in a cell with a bunch of women that they don't explicitly say it, but they kind of look like women of the night, if you know what I mean. And for some reason, they all are like, hey, this bitch is in here with us. We're just gonna fuck with her. Now, this is where this shit goes even further. Gabriel decides to wake up, and we're now learning that the vision that she has is her getting locked out of her own brain, and Gabriel takes over her body. So she starts standing up. She starts fucking convulsing. The fusion of the skull in the back literally cracks open, and then you see his face come through, and her bones start contorting so that now her arms work backwards because now that's the front of him. And all the women in the fucking jail cell, they're freaking out. Because who the fuck wouldn't freak out? This bitch just turned her like a bootleg fucking transformer. Who in front is one thing and then behind is the second figure you get in a 2-in-1 special. Just fucking Gabriel comes alive and starts killing and kicking the shit out of everybody in this fucking jail cell. And I'm not talking about like horror movie, like, I'm just gonna slash you, like fucking martial art, fucking stylized fight. But it's weird because it's backwards as you see her face and the rest of the front of her body. So she kills everybody in the fucking cell. She gets let out because a cop came up and is like, what the fuck's going on? Oh shit. She kills him, unlocks his cage. She's out. She goes to the evidence thing. There's another character in there with a stupid ass side plot that is completely irrelevant to the movie. She gets her coat, her glove, or Gabriel gets the coat, the gloves, the knife, and then the action set piece starts. And James Wan said, you know what? You know what this movie is missing? This movie is missing Jet Li from The One. So let's make Gabriel Jet Li from The One. And let's let him fuck up cops in a precinct where people are shooting at him, buckshot, regular bullets, and literally, this is it. You want to shoot at me? I wasn't there when you shot me while I was here, but I'm no longer standing here. That's all he's doing to dodge these things. Crawling fucking around, doing fucking martial arts you wouldn't fucking believe. So the cops find out, all this shit happens. We also find out that the lady that was kidnapped and in the attic is their mom. The mom who gave them up to the asylum for adoption. He's been saving her for last. So Gabriel escapes. They're going to the hospital. The sister figures that out. She goes to the hospital. Gabriel shows up, kills a bunch of people. Time to go into the room with the mom. The sister's trying to stop it. The cop shows up. Cop gets fucked up. The young cop gets fucked up, thrown out of the room. Sister tries one more time to plead. You see now the nurse lady, her. There we go, her. She's trying to, as she's watching everything, she's trying to move, trying to get some semblance of control, and you see her arm start to move. And I know I'm doing a lot of moving, and this poster is probably covering that up, but it's all right. You can use your imagination here. She's trying to gain some semblance of control. Gabriel flips a hospital bed over on the sister. And it's just like, you know what? I didn't fucking like you anyway, sis. Grabs the gun from the cop. You know what? Let me do this here. Grabs the gun from the cop to the sister's head. Kapow. Gone. Goes over to the mom. Kills the mom. Chokes her out to death. You know that. The old classic, all you got to do to choke somebody out is just barely cover the mouth and nose, and all of a sudden they can't breathe shit. He does that. All while the lady's looking at him. And then something happens. The amazing thing happens. My favorite part happens. Gabriel ends up in a dark void. Standing across from him is the nurse lady, his sister. And he's like, okay, so you brought me in here and I'm in control. And she's like, no, motherfucker, we share the same brain. So that means whatever you can do, I can do the same shit. I'm in control now, you piece of shit. And they kind of do something that's reminiscent of Saw. She locks him in a fucking cell. And he turns around and is like, what the fuck is this? Trying to shake the cell, getting out. And he's like, you know I'll be back. This won't hold me forever. And she looks at him and goes, my favorite part of the movie. She goes, I know you'll be back, but next time, I'll be ready. And I swear to you, if you put the fucking Saw music, the dun 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 dun, and ended it right there, I still would have been like, yo, this is the greatest movie ever made. Like, she just locks him up. It's like, when you come back, I'll be ready, motherfucker. And then we find out that what Gabriel saw was fake. Because when we get back into the room, Gabriel is just frozen with the gun to the sister's head. He's not moving. Because now the nurse lady's in charge. And she fucking reverts back and you see the skull close up. He goes back into the skull. She's in control fully. And the sister's like, well, we need help because you're not going to be able to lift this hospital bed. And she's like, shit, Gabriel was using my body. So if he can lift it, I can lift it. And she fucking lifts it off of him. Lifts it off of her. and they fucking go on happy ever after. She's got her sister. She's in control for right now. Her mom, her original mom, is safe, and the cops have a what the fuck's going on story. And I know what I said right now. There's probably missing out little keys here and there. Probably didn't make sense. Probably a little confusing. But that's this movie. And I recommend everybody to just fucking watch this movie. Go out and watch it. My official grade, if I'm being honest, my official grade for this movie is probably, we're going to do letter grade system, probably a B+. A B+ for this movie. That's subjectively looking at it as a whole, as a critic. What I actually give this movie is fucking A+. Because this is just the right amount of bananas for a nice, just fucking, I got nothing to do for 2 hours. Let me watch something that's gonna turn out to be the craziest shit I probably seen. I don't know who came up with this, but whoever wrote this must have had 4 different movies in his head, and the studio, instead of making him choose one, just said, fuck it, put it all together, see what you can do. So that's my little review of the movie Malignant. Once again, we're off today because, you know, we're doing something with the AEW wrestling show, which I'm pretty sure twtich might have something. Maybe might shoot something for Thursday. If not, they're definitely going to talk about it on Thursday on the podcast. So make sure you're there for that. As always, I don't know if he says this, but like, share, subscribe, all that shit. Join us. Comic Books Tuesday. Movie Review Wednesday. Wrestling Thursday. Towing the Show on Friday. Whole bunch of shit's happening on this channel. It'll always happen on this channel. Come right back. We got something for everybody. This is your... What does he say? Your friendly neighborhood knucklehead signing out. Peace.